Hello and happy Googling, everybody. So short little video here just because I wanted to show you some other options you can do and different ways you can use the features within Google Classroom for assessment. So I pulled up a couple things from each of my classes here to give you a sense of different ways to use different techniques. So first thing is this one is an assignment post, as you can kind of see by our little icon up here. And the unique thing about this particular post is this is an individual student's assignment where they're working by themselves on a document, with a student where each student gets a copy of it. So when you're, making a document, you attach something, you've got options on how you want to share that with the students. And this is something that they did in class. And so here's just a brief look at the document. This is kind of at the end of a unit where we're looking at the executive branch, we look at the president, that kind of stuff. And so this is Google Drawing. So you saw some of the stuff for like FRQs and DBQs and kids writing essays. Well, this is not necessarily a text-based one, but so kind of cool thing here is it's more of a visual based thing for students where then they, what they would do is they click on the link within each of these little text boxes over here. It brings up a little bit more information, a little bit more evidence that they'd have to analyze and think about as a student. Like, wow, look how big the cabinet is. Look at how many people are in the executive office of the president. Whoa, this is just the Department of Justice. Think how many people are actually within, each of these little boxes here. The executive branch is really, really big. I'm going to move this little box here, and I'm going to take it, and I'm going to drag it down and say, you know what? Yeah, the executive branch is really, really big. So then students would be able to take each of these different boxes. They'd click on the link. They'd read all the evidence, and then they would kind of organize it however they see fit. Maybe they think that almost all of these documents makes it look like, you know what? Maybe the executive branch is really too big, and then they type it up. So long story short, here is what a student sample would end up looking like at the end, where this is how Brittany ended up kind of organizing her different documents here, and then their write-up. And then in Google Classroom, they'd go back in and they'd click Turn In, and I'd be able to see all the kids' work here, which is kind of cool, right? Then if I wanted to, I could attach a rubric to this. I could just give individual feedback on each of these different things. Like if I'm in on Brittany's, I can still just do my regular, Control-Alt-M and give comments on how I thought her work did, and give feedback directly that way. Okay. Now scrolling down, so here's another option down here. This is something more that I do for like exit slip purposes. I love the question feature. So if you're like creating a question, you've got a couple different options on when you make it. I don't know where that went. Let's say we're creating a new question. Okay, now you've got some answers. You can do short answer. This is where the students type it, or you can do multiple choice. And then this is just a one singular multiple choice question. So if you want to do more multiple choice questions than that, you're going to probably want to use Google Forms. Then you can toggle on or off. Can students reply to each other? Yes or no. If it's off, only I see the answers. If it's on, like a lot of things you guys have done for our class, for our Get Your Google On, you can see each other's. Okay. And so back to the question that I wanted to show you guys here. Is the question here. So here's the prompt that I had the kids answer, and then they have to type their answer into it. But why I love this so much is it's just organizing things so beautifully, right? All the kids ought to do is scroll, and I can see how all the kids work and how they did, what they were thinking about. And it's all in one spot where I don't have to click open a tab and close a tab and open a tab and close a tab, that I can just scroll through here. One thing I've kind of become a fan of doing is I can just copy and paste the kids' work. If I want to show off like good examples of student work without their names on it, like since this is a private one where students get to see each other's work, I can then just anonymously post these on the slides the next day and say, hey, check out these really cool answers or these insightful answers that made me think, or share that with the kids. So those are a couple options of how you can use the question feature in Classroom. Another thing I want to show you guys here is this is another version of how you can do assessments. And so if we look at this particular assessment or assignment in Classroom, what's unique about this is I've got one of each option. So here's a file that students can view only. Here's a file that all students in the class can edit, and then here's a file that everybody gets their own individualized copy of. And so you can attach lots of different things and do different sharing settings within it. So one of the reasons why we did this for each of these is research topics. Every kid had to put their name next to one of the topics they could research. Here's just an overview of the entire assignment, what the fishbowl is going to be about, and then here's the actual research document that then when they open up the assignment, kind of like your Fusion project or your reflection journal, it's already pre-made for them and they just have to type into it. and then they just go ahead and then they turn that in. Now, what we had the kids do with those 3-2-1 fishbowl handouts, here's another unique way you can use the question feature. And so this is a unique feature, or this is what we did here is we had this where students could reply to each other. This way, students can see each other's work. And so we had the kids copy and paste the link to their research document and then post it into this. This way, during the fishbowl, when Ben's talking about the Iranian hostage crisis, and maybe some other kids aren't as familiar with it, they can go to Ben's link, open up Ben's link, and just get some background stuff out about it here as they're reading about it. So a different way to use the question feature, especially if you want to have other kids see each other's work. All they have to do is just post their links to this, which could be a good option as well. Last one here, this isn't necessarily an individual work, this is more group work. And so here's something where we're looking at different decades worth of culture. This is my AP US history class. And so different kids are broken up into different groups. Now each group essentially got the same blank slides or the same template slides that they had to fill in, but each group could kind of then add their own work onto it. And so they all read it, and then during class, so this is more of a formative assessment than it is a summative assessment, where I'm kind of checking to see how kids are doing. And then so kids would then, each group had to make a summary. They had to do popular this, popular that, what's going on in the decade, who had it good, who didn't, big conclusions, right? If we go down here, even the 1990s one, even though they messed with the background and they put their own personal spin on it during the class period, they still answered the exact same questions that I had given them as a template. And so as a group, they kind of split up the work and they added some work into it. But again, it's all the same sort of stuff that we had, for each of these different groups. So how you would set this up is this, all I did here was just a assignment for these kids because it was a reading assignment. They had to do the reading for homework, but then in class the next day, these are editable by everybody in class. And then other kids, maybe I didn't read the 1950s article, but I can still go to their slides and I can now get a condensed version of it. And we did some presentations with these. So just another way to get multiple kids in a group working on the exact same document together at the exact same time. So like I said, you got some different options here when you click this little plus button on what you can do with questions and what you can do with assignments. And then announcements, this is a little bit more static. This is just where I kind of post links or attachments or just general announcement to kids too. But really where most of my work in classroom comes from to assess kids both formatively and summatively comes from the assignment post or the question post for me to get feedback from kids. It's pretty much all about, you've got to think about, what do you want the student experience to be like? And then also, what do you want to get on your end as a teacher to make, giving feedback or reading through student work efficient and handy so you can speed that feedback loop up to kids. So again, hope this gives you guys some ideas about how you can utilize some of the different features and the different sharing functions within Google to make assessments, to take it to the next level in your classroom. All right. Thanks, guys.